Di Richards, Walk Around Wales, and today I'm with Stephen Baines, a Neath lad who, at the age of 28, became the youngest professional rugby administrator in the world when he took on the job of Executive Director at the Canadian Rugby Union. But at a later date, he became the Chief Executive Officer of the International Rugby Board. Stephen.
Good introduction, Di.
Thank you. I worked on it.
Yeah.
as you do. So tell us about first of all that CEO job. What was the interview process for that? And yeah, what that entailed?
The IRB?
Yes.
It was a very long process to start with.
Yeah.
I was getting very impatient because it had gone on literally for months. I applied, obviously, was expecting some positive results, but it took an awful long time. I think there must have been so many applications.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with board members who are very busy and obviously in different parts of the world, so it took an awful long time for them to come up with a final decision, which they did. So I was interviewed and then eventually hired for the job.
So where do you see the advert? Rugby World? Was it like in the back pages? Classified?
No, I think it was like in the Times and the Telegraph and the major newspapers like that.
Yeah.
And I'd applied for the job 10 years before that, in '88, when they were looking for a secretary of the International Rugby Board. At that time it was based in Bristol. And I applied for that and I got interviewed for that 10 years previously. And they had a very good list of candidates, including Ray Williams, but also Keith Rowlands. And they went safe, looking at the people that were being interviewed. And it was a pretty thorough interview. It was in London, obviously. And there was a very strong list of both interviewees and candidates. So, it was good, but I thought I did very well.
How old were you at the time? So 88?
I was in my young 40s.
40s, yeah.
42.
Yeah. So you'd had that experience at Canadian Rugby Union, and you were at the English Hockey Association then?
I ran the English Hockey for 12 years, yeah. I was Chief Executive of English Hockey, which I moved. We originally were in London, we were in the Sports Council, and then we eventually got our own offices at King's Cross. And then I was part of a project to find a national hockey stadium, because hockey was getting good exposure once we won our gold medal. Won the gold medal in Seoul, and after that, the sport really exploded, both in terms of participation and in terms of media interest, sponsors' interest. So we felt it was time to have our own national stadium. Up until then, of course, hockey is played on artificial turf. So we could only play it in facilities where it had artificial turf. And at that time, Luton Football Club had artificial turf. Preston North End up in the north had artificial turf. So we played our matches in venues like that, mainly at Luton. I introduced a four nations every year. We used to play that at Luton. So then we decided we should get our own stadium. So it was my task as chief executive to find a venue for it and funding for it, because hockey was not a wealthy sport. So we found through Milton Keynes Development Corporation, who gave us the land right by the stations. It was a magnificent location, half an hour from London. And then we were able to sell off part of that land. We sold it to car companies, and eventually we got the money, we got the millions that we needed to build a stadium, which we did. So we then moved our offices from London to Milton Keynes. So I was based at Milton Keynes.
So in '88 you got that job?
No, not in '88. No, I got the job before. '88 was when I went for the IRB.
Yeah. So who got that job though?
Keith Rowlands.
Oh, Keith Rowlands had it. Yeah. So Keith was a nice fella, yeah, but I wouldn't have thought he was technically an administrator as such.
Well, he was the secretary of the board, and he wasn't the chief executive of the board.
Yeah.
So it was a different job to the one eventually that I got.
Yeah.
Which was, the CEO of International Rugby.
Yeah.
He got it when he was still a secretary.
Right.
Which was.
So was that basically the same role? It's just dressed differently, was it?
No, I don't think it was the same role.
No?
I think the chief executive's role was much bigger,
Yeah.
broader, and also had more authority, because the secretary was very much the organising dinners, organising the minutes. Doing what old-fashioned secretaries used to do.
Yeah.
But in those days, they usually termed it. They were looking for secretaries. A lot of the boards were looking for secretaries. Didn't want anybody who was going to sort of take over and be a big figure.
Yeah.
I applied also for the Welsh Rugby Union around that same time.
Oh, did you really? Yeah.
I got interviewed twice for the Welsh Rugby Union, shortlisted twice for the Welsh
Secretary's job, yeah?
Secretary's job, yeah.
So David East get that?
David East got it, yeah.
And then Ray, was it? No, Ray was before that, wasn't he? Or was he after it? He's before it, was he?
They didn't have very good experiences with their secretaries at that time. They seemed to be losing them quite quickly.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I got asked the second time around, I think Clive Rowlands was in the chair.
Oh, was he?
And the question they kept asking was, you want to be a secretary or a chief executive? And I had a feeling that they were looking for me to say, I'd like to be the secretary. And I said I want to be a chief executive. I had been, remember, a chief executive of English hockey for 12 years and a chief executive of Canadian Rugby for 7 years. So I had already got 20 years experience as a sports administrator in governing bodies in 2 different countries. So I felt I had the best experience to take a job as a senior sports administrator, professional sports administrator. But Keith Rowlands, of course, in those days, it was who you know, and he had the inside track. He was a Welsh selector. I think he was a Welsh committee member. In fact, he may have even been an IRB committee member at the time. So he certainly knew all the people, but he was working in Bristol, I think, in a cider company at that time. So he was a sort of, a corporate manager.
Yeah.
But, very little experience about running a governing body at that time.
Yeah. Does the chairman have more of an influence on how the game is run? I mean, I'm at a loss to understand how he would approach, the job or sort of what the actual role would entail.
It's a tricky role because you're dealing with board members. Initially, of course, a lot of those would have been amateurs, as it were. They would have been committee members from their own governing bodies, so they were sort of almost volunteers. Some of them were then paid, but the game was run by the board or by the council. I mean, the IRB had a board and it had a council, a big council from countries around the world. So they were the decision-making body, not the chief executive. The chief executive's job was to deliver the policies.
So you present that stuff to the council then, yeah?
Present, yes.
Yeah.
Certainly you had an influence in presenting ideas.
Yeah.
If you're a good chief executive, you would be innovative, and which I did in many of the other jobs, creating new ideas, new ways of doing things, and new ideas for events or new ways of running the teams and things like that. So, but essentially, you're putting papers forward or presentations forward to the board for their consideration. The IRB was a bit different, depending on the chairman. It obviously depends on the chairman, whether it's a business or whether it's a sport. At that time, Vernon Pugh was the chairman. We started off when he first came in as a part-time chairman because they used to rotate the chairmanship every few years. So it was a different chairman every few years. He then became the first permanent chairman of the IRB, which gave him a lot more authority, a lot more, more power, if you want to call it that. And he was considered very visionary in terms of how he saw the game going, and also had very strong ideas about how the game should go. So it's very difficult. So the chief executive has to work very closely with the chairman. Those two are the most important people in the organisation, those two, as they are in business.
So, in what respect was Vernon Pugh a visionary? What did he see that maybe is we see in the game today? Anything?
Well, he was involved, which was very interesting, which I didn't like at the time. He was involved not only in the IRB, he was also involved in the Six Nations, and he was also involved in Europe. So he had ideas.
The European Cup, the Heineken Cup, the clubs, yeah.
So he wasn't just, I am the IRB, I am World Rugby. He actually he kept his job as chairman of the Welsh Rugby Union for a while.
Yeah.
And that was a conflict of interest, so he couldn't do that. So eventually he gave that up. But he continued to be very influential. I mean, he was probably the one behind Italy adding to the Five Nations.
Yeah.
He was also very instrumental in the European Cup and in terms of the structure of the European Cup. So he had a lot of views, opinions, and power to develop rugby. It was a time actually when the Welsh Rugby Union, when he was chairman of, wasn't doing very well, wasn't very successful. Also, he seemed to go through chief executives or secretaries very quickly, which concerned me when I saw that. The chairman is not the chief executive. There has to be a separation there of both powers and influence. And I worked long enough in sport to know that's a difficult mix sometimes. Because there are chairmen, there are people that want to get their hands dirty and get very, very involved in everything, rather than in business where it's clear what the chairman's job is and what the chief executive. Chief executive is there to run the business. The chairman is not there to run the business. He's there to hold board meetings, control board meetings, and be involved in policy decisions. And I think the IRB was a fairly new professional sport, wasn't it, in those days?
Yeah.
I mean, it had only they had one chief executive before me.
Who was that?
He was an American. I didn't know him, but he was only there for a year. So I thought that was fairly symptomatic of the way that Mr. Pugh acted. Yeah. I think he had a difficulty with chief executives who maybe took a position or a role different to how we perceived it. Yeah.
So was he sort of was he a sort of a powerful chairman with who would argue the point beyond reasonable
I have no problem in arguments and differences of opinion. That's how you get debating. That's the whole point. Yeah. I think he had very strong views of how Welsh Rugby should be run, and very strong views about how the IRB should be run. So he was viewed very much as a visionary of the game. He's had plaudits really from the media because he took the game forward, and of course eventually he was the one that made the announcement for rugby becoming professional. So he was given the job of chairing the amateur committee, and his paper was the one that actually decided this is the way the game was going to go. So there was no one who had more influence in the development of rugby than Vernon Pugh. Absolutely nobody. Yeah. And so he was very much revered by the board members who wouldn't counter what his proposals were. But that power in itself sometimes it causes issue when it comes to delivering policy, because the chief executive's job is to deliver the policy and be accountable for that. In other words, you deliver the policy, and if it goes wrong, you are accountable. Yeah. No problem with that. I've worked, as I said, for many years in sport, 20 odd years for other governing bodies, with chairmen, with different chairmen. So it's a relationship that is absolutely critical, both in a governing body of sport, but in a business, that those two work very closely, hand in hand. I had the experience. I had a lot more sport administration experience than him because he was a barrister. He spent his time with law, environmental law, and in court, and being a barrister. Yeah. I had spent 20 years plus having a master's degree in sport. So I thought I knew about how to run sport. Yeah. But if you've got someone that thinks differently, then it causes issues. Yes. Issues are not a problem as long as you talk your way through it. Yeah.
Communication the key?
Communication is a key, and listening is a key, and getting out and about is a key, which I did. I mean, it was very interesting when I was interviewed for the job. in Dublin. And it was a very good interview, and I thought I did very well. But I still eventually...
So how many were on the panel to interview you?
I think 5. I mean, the vice chairman, Rod Fisher, was on the board. I mean, the treasurer, Tom Keenan, was on that board. Those were the main sort of leading people that were on the interviewing panel. But the interviews went very well, and then they brought me back after the interview to have dinner with them.
All right.
Which probably was the critical one. How is this guy going to behave at the dinner? How is this conversation going to be? How is he going to deal with our questions in a sort of social setting?
Can he tell jokes?
Rather than a very formal interviewing session. And I loved it. I loved that experience. And so I was given the job. They put me through. It was a pretty grueling set of interviews. And at the end, I remember them saying, we think we found the right guy, because I was able to deal with the questions. I was able to show my expertise. And I was able to mix socially with them, which is important in the sport of rugby particularly. So I mean, it was a major moment for me being offered that job, given that job.
Did you come straight from the Hockey Association, or did you come because you went to sports marketing, didn't you? Did you come from
No, I came from hockey.
You came from the hockey, did you?
Yeah.
Were they a bit upset that you were you pinched? I mean, did they see that you were pinched?
Actually, the timing was good, because what happened with hockey, there was men's hockey called the Men's Hockey Association, and then there was the Women's Hockey Association. Before I was chief executive of men's hockey, they'd never talked to each other ever. They'd never been in their offices. There was absolutely no contact between men's and women's hockey. And of course, the government said. And
they were playing on the same pitches as such, were they?
Well, they were playing in different pitches. You probably don't remember, but the biggest hockey game the women had was at Wembley, with 60 or 70,000
I don't remember
squealing schoolgirls. It was played on grass initially. They didn't play when we played our internationals. They were not playing, which they would be now. They were not playing. So there were very different ways of running the organisation. In the men's and women's. So I was very keen to bring the association together. I think I played a big part in that merger, although they didn't like to call it a merger. They liked to call it a formation of a new body. So from the two associations, we created one new body. And I became chief executive of that. So I was chief executive of men's hockey for like 10 years, and then I became chief executive of all of hockey, and I did that for 18 months, and then got the job in.
And that was English as opposed to the British?
That was English,
yeah.
But in hockey, English is synonymous with British.
Okay.
Because England is so strong. Which is difficult in some ways. I mean, it's a bit like the British Lions now with no Welsh players, isn't it? English hockey, when I went to Seoul for the Olympics, it had a British manager, a British coach, a British doctor, and I think of the squad, there was 2 non-English. So it was dominated by England, because England were highly ranked, had done well in World Cups.
And it was a school sport as well, wasn't it?
School sport, huge school sport. I mean, at that time, probably hockey was viewed more as a women's sport than a men's sport, up until that Olympics. We ran the World Cup in London in '86. I joined hockey just before the World Cup. So I went to, it was in Willesden in London. I went to and they did a super job of organising it. I went to that World Cup in '86, and we got the silver medal to Australia. So, we were obviously on the up as a team. And then we went to the Olympics, and 2 years later, or whatever, and we got the gold medal. So that was a massive impetus for hockey as a sport, men's hockey.
Yeah. Was that the first time Britain had won a gold medal?
I think it's the first, for many, maybe way back in the olden days when there was very few countries involved. But it was a massive achievement. I mean, the women have since, of course, won gold medals twice, but the men hadn't. So, and we also put some names, to the fore. Sean Curley, who scored goals in the semis and in the final, became a big sort of
figure. He was a big name.
We won a sports team of the year that year. I went to the BBC studios for the sports team of the year, which hockey won. So, there was an impact both in terms of participation, but also at that time in terms of people getting artificial turf pitches. So there was a boom in clubs, colleges, universities, local authorities putting down artificial turf pitches, which we still benefit from today. So hockey has become a total artificial turf game because of that impetus.
Yeah.
A lot of the players started to become professional hockey players in other countries. So it did change and development, youth development, which is so critical in sport. I mean, the chief executive, yes, has to create the right environment for the sport to grow in terms of bringing youth into the games. It also has to create the right environment for elite development and for a success at the international level. That's critical. But you can't ignore development, coaching, refereeing, bringing youngsters to school, sport, all those sort of areas. So the chief executive has a very wide brief in terms of how you develop a world game. And a lot of it, you're right, a lot of it is about communications. It is about communication, the message, producing materials, getting the right appointments in place. It's quite a complicated mix to get it right.
So you've obviously got to have a good team with you. So did you take any of the team did you pinch any of the team from English hockey and take them to?
No. I didn't, no. The thing about hockey is they're all fanatical and passionate about hockey.
Yeah.
One of the things you can look at when you look at me is I have to be fairly flexible to be able to be successful in different environments. I mean, when I was young, I went to Australia to teach PE, so I had to suddenly adapt to teaching PE in Australia rather than in London, which was very, very different. And then I had to, at Canadian Rugby, here was a Brit running a Canadian sport. So, establishing yourself and your credibility and giving people confidence and what you're doing was very important. And the same with hockey. We just had the World Cup in '86, and a number of the people who were running the World Cup in '86 applied for the job of chief executive. And you can imagine when they didn't get it, they were pretty gutted because there were some very strong candidates there. So I had to go and make a name for myself. I mean, not really, I was a hockey player to a certain degree. I played for Swansea. But my main sport was rugby, clearly. So to be able to get credibility amongst a hockey fraternity, hockey fanatics, I must have done well to be able to do that, because the knives were sort of out to start with. What the hell does this guy know about hockey? What's he going to do for hockey? How is he going to lead hockey? Doesn't he know anything about the sport? Which again, I shows the depth of my experience, international experience, working in different governing bodies, being successful in those governing bodies. And that's what I had to do in hockey, and I stayed there for 12 years. So, I went to, I think, 3 Olympics. I went to World Cups all over the world. I went to Champions Trophy, which we had for the top 6 nations in the world every year, all over the world. So I did an awful lot of travelling as chief executive of hockey to give English hockey a face and to make sure we were properly represented at a European level and at international level.
And do you put potentially, so you're adapting, and does that come from your family background, I think? Because you were born in Neath, is that right?
I was born in Neath.
Do we dare say?
I was born and bred in Neath. I grew up in Neath. I love Neath.
And you grew up in Kimmer Crescent?
I grew up in Kimmer Crescent, yes. But I mean...
in a house which my great-grandfather built.
Yeah. In a very ordinary house with a very ordinary upbringing, really. A very, my sister will say, she had a fantastic youth, and I would say the same. We both had wonderful childhoods.
Kimmer Crescent, Steve.
Kimmer Crescent, yes.
Trip down memory lane.
Grew up here. We used to walk to school from here.
What age did you start walking to school on your own?
Oh, probably when I was about 9. Yeah, down to Old Man Davies' school in Neath. And then of course we had a longer walk then to get to the grammar school over the river. That's what I used to do. So it was a good walk.
Yeah.
Quite healthy walk.
And where would you play? Where would you play from here?
Well, here I would play in the street. As you can see, it's quite a steep hill, so we did a lot of tobogganing and various activities on the hill. We played cricket in the street.
Would you take
football.
would you take a cricket into the flat streets, the cross streets there, Hawthorne?
No.
Yeah? No?
We did everything right there. Well, my playground was really the woods at the back. You can see that there was woods. We had a long garden, and then at the back of the garden, the end of the garden, we had beautiful woods, streams. That was my playground.
Yeah. And morning, well, on the weekends were you morning till night there, or
Oh,
did you
pretty much,
just
yeah.
come in for?
Yeah, pretty much coming to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, you build dens or what?
Built dens,
Yeah,
yeah,
dams.
dams, rivers, streams. Slid down banks. Took our bikes down there.
Some good banks there, isn't there?
Yeah, oh, beautiful banks. Yeah. And biking, of course, up and down the hills there. No, it was climbing trees.
Yeah. So did you ever crash on your bike?
Not really. No, I didn't. No, I was quite lucky.
Yeah.
I never broke anything.
Never?
Never broke a bone
Never.
in my
Wow.
life.
You weren't trying hard enough, were you?
Maybe I've just been lucky. Yeah, no, that
Or
was
skillful. Yeah.
Could be
Very
skillful.
skillful. Yeah. Maybe I was.
I don't know.
Maybe I was just too thick.
That's why I played full back. I think I was getting
Yeah?
out of the way.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Was that your preferred position, full back, or were you just forced that way
Actually,
because
my
forced it,
preferred position was centre rather
Yeah.
than full back. Yeah.
could you kick a ball?
Yeah, I could kick. I used to practice for hours kicking the ball in those
Yeah.
days. Particularly in Neath Grammar School, we used to practice after school, kicking the ball through the posts. You know.
Did you have them big heavy leather ones in?
They were in those
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get wet. They were very heavy.
They were heavy, weren't they? Yeah.
That was before the mitre balls.
Yeah. So just take a second now to appreciate the Norwoods. Look, this was your playground.
This is it. It's an oasis, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Oasis of calm.
Yeah. So were these trees half the size then? I mean,
Well, I remember the trees. There's a lot of oak trees
Yeah.
in this woods, and they were big.
Yeah.
I used to climb the oak trees. They were particularly big, so
Oaks are quite. They spread out, don't they?
they do.
Sort of spread out. And
Perfect for
easier to
climbing.
climb, aren't they? Yeah.
I love being up trees. It was a bit weird. I used to, when I was studying for my exams, I'd go and climb a tree and study in the tree.
I never.
Sit in the tree
So-
studying.
So what? So I'm doing a bit of a study on why people climb trees. What was the reason why you climbed the trees? Was it a challenge?
I think it was the
yeah?
challenge of,
Yeah.
of finding the footholds, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Getting up there to start
Yeah.
with is not easy because there's usually no low branches. So
Yeah.
just getting up to start with, you have to be a pretty good climber.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just liked it. I liked the peace. I liked the quiet.
Yeah.
Particularly
Trees
when
don't.
Huh?
Trees don't talk back, do they?
well, you know, when you're studying, I think it was no better place because it was quiet.
Yeah.
Whereas in the house, there was all sorts of stuff going on. So
Yeah. Of course.
I
Yeah.
prefer to be in the woods. No,
Yeah.
I lived in the woods,
Yeah.
and I still have an affinity with woods. You know, the last 23 years we've been living in the Wye Valley, which is a
Oh, nice.
forest. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
So we've been in the middle of the forest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful place, isn't it?
And that's why I think it's because of this that
Yeah. Yeah. Are you growing up? Yeah. You with the way you grew
I
up?
grew up
and,
with woods,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
trees, with forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what drew you to the Wye Valley? I mean, was it just part of? Is it just its beauty? Because it was the first British tourist
It was, yeah, the River Wye,
tourist
yeah.
attraction
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
as such. Yeah.
I knew that area. My mother was born in Malpas in Newport.
Oh yeah.
And I had most of my relatives were in Malpas. So when we used to go and visit, we would then go for a Sunday afternoon drive around the Wye Valley. You know.
Yeah.
So I knew Tintin very well as a kid. And here we are at the pond.
The pond.
I don't know whether it's called a pond or a reservoir now. But you can see
First pond. I mean, I've always called it. It's a walkway. Isn't it?
they've been keeping it in fairly good shape.
Yeah. Looks
I
better.
thought it was very overgrown with weeds, but I think they're managing it.
Yeah.
Those water lilies are beautiful.
They are nice, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. This was a swimming pool. Where we are now actually was where the diving boards were.
Yeah? Did you have to pay to go in, or was it free?
No, it was free.
Free, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
But I remember it well because we used to have swimming contests. You used to come down and watch them, and you'd have people sitting along the side watching the swimming races.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would swim in here as a kid.
Wow.
I don't know whether I'd swim in there now, but I'm sure that it gets deeper. I mean, just obviously if you're doing diving, you're diving from a high board. They had a high board here.
They had a high one, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
5 metre board, or?
Yeah, a high
Yeah.
board. It wasn't just a springboard. They actually
Yeah.
had a high board here. So you got the Knoll Woods, as I said, which backs up on the house, and then we used to walk down here and then go up into the Knoll Woods and the Knoll House and everything else, which is all up there.
Yeah.
Still.
So would people sort of come and sort of put their towels down and just lie around the area, or what was it like back in, we're talking 50s, aren't we?
They had. I think that down here they had changing rooms.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, people would come here and change in the changing rooms, and then go and have a swim, and then I don't remember sort of people lolling about. Probably didn't have the weather then to do that either. But I do remember people coming here for swimming.
Yeah.
And I do remember they had changing rooms down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time ago, 50s, 60s maybe, early 60s.
I got a relative over here.
Have you?
Yeah.
Neath?
Yes, yeah. So there we are. Thomas J. Snow.
Oh yes, snow.
Yeah, that's my my grandmother's cousin.
Yeah. Well, as I said, the Snows was a well-known
Yeah.
business name in Neath. Business people.
Yeah. I've got his medal actually from this war.
What's your relationship to the Snows then?
My great grandfather, he was the guy who started the builders.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was his company that built Crimna Crescent.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And he started, his first job was building Llantwit Cemetery in 1897.
Yeah.
And but while he was doing that, his brothers and his father were building Victoria Gardens.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So
Beautiful gardens.
So they've the Snow family have a proud history in Neath.
Absolutely, well known.
Yeah. So you were involved in Neath Little Theatre?
I was involved in yes, I was. When I was in the grammar school, I joined the little theatre. I was in a few plays. She Stoops to Conquer, I remember.
What's that like?
Don't ask me. No, but I was in some plays there, and it was a good place to meet people. Most of my time was spent really doing sport. You know, it was a life of playing games. I did for example, I was a member of the Glamorgan Indoor Cricket School, which is in Neath, which I used to do in the winter
On the knoll?
at the cricket ground.
Yeah, the nets there, yeah?
Yeah, well, they had an indoor school.
All right, okay. Where the nets are?
Yeah,
no,
I don't know if it's still there, but there was an indoor school there. We used to be coached by Wolf Wooler, Bernard Hedges,
Yeah.
and some of the other big Glamorgan names of that day.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a youngster, because I would only been sort of 11, 12, 13, I had great tuition from some very good cricket coaches.
So would because Wilf was he was a batsman and a bowler, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. So would he send him down on you?
I think he was an off-spin bowler. I don't think he was a fast bowler. And Bernard Hedges was an open batter, wasn't he? Or number 3.
Yeah. So I always remember in the nets when I was training with Baglan, you know, Baglan cricket.
Yeah.
In Neath, and there was an opening bat. The first, I think Viv Evans, his name was, I think, I'd send him down as fast as I could at him, and he just smashed the ball straight back up the nets.
Yeah.
it was life-threatening, honestly. Honestly, I mean, because if a cricket ball hits you, have you ever been hit
By a cricket
by
ball?
a cricket ball in sort of at pace? Have you?
No.
No?
No. You know, it depends what type of cricket you fielding position, isn't it?
Yeah,
If you're likely, if you're in the slips or in very close field, the chances are you're not going to get hit with a cricket ball.
Yeah.
If you're playing in, you know, long off or mid-wicket or whatever, then
Silly mid-on is the place to be, isn't it?
oh yeah, selling it on is suicidal.
Yeah.
No, I quite like running and picking the ball up at at speed and throwing it. You know, to
In the
the
outfield, yeah?
yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You need a good strong arm.
Did you ever go down? You had to go down?
Go down, yeah.
What was your highest score? Can you remember?
I would say probably in the 50s.
Yeah.
I didn't hit it. I wasn't a high at West when I was playing like 5 and 6. So yeah, 50 would be a good score for me.
Yeah. I think 50 is a good score for anyone, actually.
Yeah.
It would have been an amazing score for me because I never got that.
Oh.
I never got that.
Yeah. Coleman Davis is untouched.
Exactly the same?
Exactly the same.
So, we're at Alban Davis School.
Coleman Davis.
Yeah.
Victorian school, as you can see, Victorian building. But it was good years. I had no problems at all in the junior school. And we used to walk across the river to play rugby to the field
Oh yeah, Court Herbert.
at Court Herbert. Yeah,
Yeah,
quite a
yeah.
long walk.
It is quite a long walk, isn't
And
it?
we'd all have to walk in line, and
Yeah.
usually holding hands or whatever. It was
Yeah.
all policed. But I started that when I was here,
Yeah.
playing rugby in Court Herbert. Yeah, because they had no fields here. They only had a big playground.
And you weren't allowed in the gardens, obviously, Victoria Gardens.
No, I mean we played murder ball and things like that there, which was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even break a
Did you
arm
break anything and
playing
play murder ball like
No,
that?
I didn't.
No.
No.
Wow.
I must have been either very good mover, swift mover,
Yeah, yeah.
or
You
avoided
strike me as a dodger.
Well, avoided it like the plague. Yeah. No, I didn't want to get broken.
Yeah, I
broken
never got
bones.
sucked in a murder ball in a big way, to be honest.
No. Well, I used to teach it when I was PE teacher. I used to do
How
it.
can you teach murder ball? I mean,
Well, I used to play
is it-
it with the kids in the gym, and they loved it. You know.
yeah. So for
I
those
really
out,
loved it, yeah.
so explain the rules of murder ball to people out there.
Well, you just had to get past, the catches.
Yeah.
You had to run past, and you couldn't be touched. It wasn't a matter of being tackled; it was a matter of you couldn't be touched. So you had to be. It's a
Did
very
you
good
play-
way of sidestepping.
Did you play non-contact murder ball?
We played non-contact. There was no tackle. It was
All right.
touch.
Okay. Our murder ball
Well,
was
full
yeah.
on.
Well, yeah. You just had yeah, of course. I mean,
Dangerous.
we're talking school in Pawtucket, you know. We're not talking.
Totally different. Totally different situation. This is a Church of Wales school, so it has a certain refinement.
So you're at church and you were in the choir.
I was in the choir. I think I was in the choir when I was 8, and I left when my voice
Were you
broke.
soprano? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I left when my voice broke.
Yeah.
I was 13, 14.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we used to rehearse at least twice a week. Practice.
Mm.
I used to do weddings and things, which was great because you'd get paid
Yeah.
to show up for a wedding.
Oh, excellent.
So that was a big highlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the full garb. And I also was a good enough singer because I passed a scholarship to Hereford Cathedral School when I was 11.
Okay. And that was for singing, yeah? In the main, yeah?
It was academic
obviously
as well.
it's-
You had
yeah,
to pass
yeah,
an exam,
okay,
but it
yeah.
was because you were
Yeah.
required for the cathedral choir,
Yeah.
and I was given a free scholarship.
All right. But you didn't take it, did
I
you?
didn't.
No.
Imagine how much that would have been worth.
Yeah.
If you look at today, a free scholarship to a private public school like that,
Mm.
because you could sing, was
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I didn't want to leave home. I loved Neath. I didn't want to leave the life here because I always thought Neath Grammar School was A1 school. And
Yeah.
I was happy to go to Neath for both the academic work but also for the rugby,
Yeah.
particularly rugby.
Yeah. Did you play? I mean, were you first 15 every year? In every year?
No,
were you?
I was first 15 until I was 15, and then I got knee. A lot of people, my knees got injured, but they did. My cartilages, every time I was at a tackle, they would swell up. So I stopped playing when I was about 15, 16, and then I started again when I went to college. I was 20.
Yeah.
So I played for college, and I played for club in London, and I played a few games for London Welsh Dragons as well. Got roped in by Derek Williams, who was the head of PE at my school that I taught in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't play after I was like 15, 16. So I didn't play in the first 15, which was always very strong. I mean, they were always.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
There was always.
I expect they had a number of internationals in it.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
I played with John Bevan, who played centre for Wales and the Lions and coached Wales. He was my cricket captain and I think the rugby captain as well.
Yeah. I delivered papers to John Bevan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. He only took. So I delivered the Evening Post, and he only had the sports edition on a Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was he from?
Well, he was living in Baglan at the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Did a tour in Baglan at the time.
Yeah. His dad was a bus driver.
Yeah.
And would be at every game he played, which was unusual because in those days parents didn't go and watch their kids play.
Mm.
Now they do, but in those days they didn't.
Yeah.
They just let them get on with it.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have the distraction of parents. I never actually wanted my parents to ever come and watch me play anything. There are people like that.
I was the same. I was the same with my father. I see my father on the sideline once, and I got quite nervous.
Yeah.
And I said, "Don't come and watch me again."
Exactly. Well, the Ivy Tower, which is that in Tonner, above Tonner? There was a walkway from the Knoll Woods. You could walk all the way around, past farms, all the way around, and then across the hills to the Ivy Tower. So we'd walk that a lot. It was a frequent walk that we do. I've even done it as an adult, to be honest. It's a beautiful walk. Mm. But we spent a lot of time on our bikes as well, cycling, going around everywhere.
What bike did you ride? Rally, yeah.
Mm. Converted though.
All right, okay.
If you go in the woods, you have to take your mud guards off. So it was converted, more like a mountain bike.
Was it one of the small wheels? RSW?
No, it wasn't. Big wheels in those days. Yeah, big wheels.
What, a proper road bike?
Yeah.
Was it a proper road bike?
Proper road bike used in the woods.
Yeah?
Yeah, converted.
Because I've ridden those woods and they're not easy.
No, it's not easy woods.
They're not easy woods.
No, you're right. It's very hilly.
Yeah.
And there's rivers and not rivers, streams and things like that. So So if I can give that to you a sec, I'm going to tell a story now. I was riding with the first pond. We saw the first pond. The other side. Are you in?
Yeah. So the first pond where we were. Okay, so on the opposite side, I was riding my bike. On the other side, okay, and there's a squirrel. Okay, he popped out in front of me, and he just went like this, jumped back and forth, and I thought, "Come on, squirrel, make your mind up." But he didn't make. He couldn't make his mind. He was just jumping back and forth.
Playing with you.
Yeah. And eventually he jumped and he hit my wheel. Right?
Oh, right.
He hit my wheel, and he flew up in the air. He was really. I can never forget this. Okay, so he was flying through the air like this. Looking at me, and I was looking him in the face, like I was just laughing at him. But I found
stop action.
It's just funny. I was just seeing his face. It was like he was just like that. Oh, I tell you. Yeah, it's just one of those moments, what you get. But when I get at that pond, I always remember it. I suppose memorable moments, isn't it? Yeah.
Memorable moments. Yeah. I mean, I have so many fond memories of the woods and the Knoll Woods and being there with my friends, which has lasted all my life. As I say, we've always lived near woods or in the forest.
Yeah.
But the major memory of Neath is the rugby, because when we were young, we were playing it. We started playing very young, and when we were older, we used to go and watch the Monas, Neath play.
Did you see any of the major touring sides against Neath and Aberafon?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Anything strike? Well,
I went to the I think it's now an infamous game now, where Neath played South Africa.
In 94, I mean,
in the Knoll.
most recent.
It was a war.
Yes,
It was the dirtiest game I think South Africa said they had ever played.
Yeah.
Because Neath were just, they went out to stop them, really, rather than for them to show what a great rugby team they were. They went out to stop the Springboks playing. Yeah. And it was a good Springbok side. I mean, they had the World Cup. Of course, the captain was there.
Yeah, a year later, they went on to win the World Cup, didn't they? Yeah.
They were a very strong side, but unfortunately, Neath decided to stop the playing, and it ended up a very, very dirty, unpleasant game.
I remember Peter Bills in the editorial on Rugby World. He was extremely antagonistic towards Neath.
Oh yeah.
But my view is that it's a game of rugby.
Yeah, but they didn't actually play a game of rugby.
And you, if you spent a lot of time in South Africa, right?
Yeah.
You watched a lot of South African rugby. Yeah. Are they in the main a clean playing nation? Are they historically a clean playing?
They're a tough nation, but I wouldn't say they are a dirty nation. No. No, I don't. I mean, they know the tricks, but Neath are always a bit, particularly with people like Ryan Thomas there, they always had a bit of a reputation of sorting people out.
Yeah.
In one side of that coin is it made them a very strong side.
Yes.
Great players.
Yeah.
But also the other side was that they could be pretty dirty.
Yeah.
But I was at that game.
Yeah.
It was very unpleasant.
Yeah. I was at the game too.
Didn't do a lot of, as you said, they didn't get very good reports.
Didn't get a very good report, yes. And Peter Bills sort of bigged up the Swansea performance. And didn't they lose 97-0, something like that? I mean, at the end of the day...
Those are the days also where they put out to combine Neath Aberravon side against the touring sides. Yeah. Which was a mistake, wasn't it?
Oh, but they didn't in that one. I mean,
they didn't in that one, no, but in the earlier days,
I
went to see many touring sides. In fact, I went to see the Springboks play at Aberravon.
Yeah. That would be 69, was it?
Yeah, when I was very young, yeah. So, and they were huge. Abe Milan, and people like that. Abraham Milan. Yeah. They were huge. And my memory of South Africa is these huge Afrikaners, of course, farmers, who were enormous. And I suppose the All Blacks also had the same thing. A lot of the farmers, like a lot of our players in a heyday, were teachers. They came from teaching into rugby. Yeah, and they were all hard men, weren't they? But they were very athletic men, you know. But hard, because they worked on the farm. Robin Mead and people like that worked on the farm.
I tried to tackle Guy Morris once. He was hard. He was like granite. Yeah. He was like granite, honestly.
Yeah, he was one of everybody's favourite players.
Of course. Yeah.
Wonderful player. Yeah. Loved him.
Yeah.
Loved Guy Morris.
The Shadow.
Yeah, he was a great player. He was he used to do, what's the name, didn't he? He worked in industrial areas.
Yeah, he was a miner, wasn't he?
Was he a miner? Yeah. Hard man.
Yeah. I think. Don't quote me on it.
I thought he did soldering or whatever they call that.
Yeah, that's right. He was a welder, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Got it wrong,
He was a welder. He wasn't.
Tell me.
He was a welder. I remember these things. They stick in your mind.
I learned about rugby. I learned things about rugby one day.
Well, my brother-in-law was in school. He's a few years older than me, and he played hooker, so he knows all of the. Yeah. You know, Brian Rees, and because he was also a hooker, he knows. Jeff Piles and Scapethorne and Capleton. There was some great players in the Neath school team of those days. Yeah. Who went on to, but not only played World Seven schools, but then went on to play internationally as Thomas did and Brian Rees did. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. It was a sweet shop. Oh yeah. Nellie Rees's, did you say? Nellie Rees, yeah. The two stops we would make on our way from school would be the fish and chip shop, which is still there. Yeah. And the sweet shop. Sweet shop. So that was a music shop, and then it was an antique shop before that, I think. And it was Nellie's. It was Nellie's Sweets. Nellie Rees. Nellie Rees. Yeah. So why were you at Alban Davis, Stephen? You told me about your scar. Yeah. I split my head open when I was about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We were all holding hands and spinning around, and a girl that I was holding my hand let me go,
Yeah.
and I went straight into the wall.
Oh, I'm doing.
Hospital, stitches.
Yeah. Do you want a name and shame now?
Christine. Christine, if you're watching, you did that.
You broke Stephen's head.
Yeah, you split my head open. You silly woman. Yes, she did that. She did let me go.
Yeah.
You don't do that in that game.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
I grew up playing sport from a very young age, loving sport. And I have Neath to thank really for the passion that I had for sport, but you know, specifically for rugby, because I went to a very strong rugby school. I was so fortunate. I was privileged to go to such a great school. And that was then inbuilt in me that I absolutely adored sport and I adored rugby.
So who were the masters? Who were the rugby masters while you were there?
Roy Bish.
Oh, Roy Bish, wow.
Roy Bish was there
Yeah,
when I started in school.
yeah.
And one of the things I did when I was with Canadian Rugby is I went to Italy at once and met him because he was coaching the Italian team, and Andy Hayden was playing for his team in Rome. So I went out for an Italian meal with Roy Bish, which was nice.
Yeah.
And then Ron, what was it?
Ron Waldron? No, it wasn't Ron Waldron. Ron Jones. Was it Ron Jones? No. Was it? There was a memorial match for him, I think.
He was there a long time.
I can't remember his name. I wasn't there, so.
Yeah, no, but I mean...
But Clive was. Clive Norling was.
Clive Norling was there.
Was he younger or?
I think...
he was younger than you, wasn't he?
He was younger than me, but he'd gone into refereeing quite young.
Yeah.
And people used to laugh at him because it was not the done thing, right?
Yeah.
It was, why aren't you playing? I want to be a referee. So he was viewed as being a bit different, a bit odd, which sometimes in school it's not good, is it?
No, it's not good.
Sometimes you're going to get bullied, but
Yeah.
he was strong enough.
Yeah.
I have to say, he was strong enough to persevere with his refereeing. Of course,
Yeah.
he became probably the best referee in the world,
In the
certainly the
world,
best
yeah.
known referee
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
So his early experiences at Neath was, I want to be a referee, which was, I knew him then.
Were you saying when he was going to be a referee? Were you saying, well, I'm going to be an executive director?
No, I wasn't. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I loved medicine. I thought, that's what I want to do. I enjoyed watching it on TV, so I thought, I'll go into medicine. And as I said, when I didn't get into medical school, I sort of gave up. I dropped out. I didn't study anymore because I was so disappointed not to get that job. And so I had to make a decision. What am I going to do now? And I thought I would just follow my passion at that stage, which was sport. And I didn't need a high qualifications to get into training college in those years. I didn't need A levels. I could get in with my GCSEs. So I was lucky to get a break and get into a good college in London in PE, and I loved it.
So which college was it?
Avery Hill.
Avery Hill. Yeah.
South East London, Eltham.
All
Where
right.
Bob Hope was from.
Bob Hope.
Yeah. In Eltham. Yes, he was from in Eltham.
So there's a famous college in Eltham, isn't it? Isn't it a famous college?
Well,
or a school?
Yeah, Eltham School probably.
So Eric Liddell went to that school. Eric Liddell.
Did he?
Yeah. The great sprinter, 1924, Chariots of Fire. You know the guy.
Yes. Of course, yes.
Yeah.
No, I had a great experience. I mean, in Avery Hill, and it was a stepping stone for me then to go into teaching, which I did in London in the ILEA. So I taught in a big school in London, in Southfields, which is just down the road from Wimbledon tennis courts. And in those days, we provided all the ball boys to Wimbledon.
Oh, excellent.
So I got to go to Wimbledon every day.
Yeah,
as a PE teacher
yeah.
with these lads.
Yeah,
that was a great experience.
Yeah. Did you sort of put a pair of shorts on and say, I'm a ball boy?
No, wonderful. I loved Wimbledon. Because we were down the road. The Wandsworth School was 2,000 boys.
All right.
I was in a PE department of I think 7 PE teachers.
Yeah.
It's a big school.
Yeah.
And I started off, as you do in work, I started off as number 7 PE teacher.
Yeah.
The new boy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, how long is it going to take me to get to be a head of PE, which is what I wanted to do. A long time.
Yeah.
And this happens sometimes, doesn't it? How long
am
I going to have to wait
to
get my opportunity? So I wanted to coach. I was in charge of cricket for all the teams, and I was coaching at the under-15s rugby in my first year. And the head of the department was another Welshman called Derek Williams, who was heavily involved in London Welsh Dragons and a good outside half.
All right.
So I said to Derek, I really want to coach first 15. And to be fair, and I really like the guy, I'm still in touch with the guy. All our lives we've been in touch, and he's come over here and stayed with me. And he said, yeah, okay. So he stepped aside from coaching his first 15 and let me coach it.
Oh, brilliant.
You
don't get that very often, do you?
No, people are very loath to give up things like I coached the first 15, which he did, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
And of course, that season, which I took them, we went touring in Scotland, we went to playing good sides in Edinburgh, and then my record was played 20, won 15. So I did pretty well. It was a very successful year, and I loved it. And again, I tried to be innovative, which is something I've done in all my careers. We brought in dance into our training sessions.
Well, that must have been interesting.
To Green Onions.
Yeah. Dancing at Green Onions?
Dancing, and well, I'm doing circuits.
What's Green Onions?
Oh, have you heard of the Green Onions? Oh, you should listen to that track.
No.
It's a fantastic track, music track.
What's it called like?
I can't sing it, mate. It should. It's the sort of thing actually. It gets into your head and you can't forget it.
All right, okay.
But
is it a rude song?
No.
No,
it's music. It's
okay.
There's no words to it. It's just great music.
Yeah.
And they still these players that played for me all those years ago. I still remember Alan Bone, who was my captain.
Yeah.
And another guy called Fred Harris, wrote to me when I got the job at the IRB. So
oh, excellent.
We still remember your training sessions.
Yeah.
And that's nice, isn't it?
Yes,
and in fact, my son, who's now, as I said, teaching in Hertfordshire, and he goes to a squash club, and Alan Bone is the manager of the squash club.
Oh, right.
So
small world.
They're trying to get me to join the old Wandsworthians.
Yeah.
No, it is a small world. You meet people along the way, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
They do say that, that make sure you are nice to the people on the way up, because you might meet them on the way down.
On the way down,
Very true.
Yes, that's right.
Very true. So that was a wonderful experience, both in terms of teaching kids from. I mean, we had politicians' sons there, and we had the worst of the worst there. We had the Chelsea Bobber Boys in those days.
Oh, never.
We used to go across the river for a fight, for a punch-up every week. So we had those sort of kids.
Yeah.
And we had, as I said, politicians. And we had a fantastic choir at that school. So it was a very positive experience in terms of a comprehensive school that was working really well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody had an opportunity there.
Yeah.
If they wanted to take it, whether it was in sport, whether it was in music, whether it was in the arts, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Or football hooliganism.
Fighting, martial arts.
Yeah.
No, I loved that, but again, I was ambitious. Part of my.
So basically, that's just part of your personality. Is you're just ambitious, and you got the drive to get there. Yeah.
I have the drive, but I also. I think I know where I want to be, and therefore I will do anything to get there.
Well, you got the nous to get there. Maybe nous is an interesting word, isn't it?
Nous, yes.
Nous. And hard work. You need them nous and hard work, and
you need hard work, but you also need a plan. It's not good enough to say I want to work in the IRB, or I want to work for World Rugby, or whatever. You have to, how are you going to get there?
You have to vision the process. Yeah, you visualize the process.
What do you need to get that job?
Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy job, and I think timing it counts for a lot. The right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I think they had a businessman. They hired a businessman, the American businessman, as their first chief CEO, for example, with the IRB. and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they then started thinking, well, we don't just need someone with business background, we actually need someone who's got some sports background. And there was very few people in those days who had master's degree in sport management from America, so had the experience of American sports, which I think are great.
So it was Oregon University?
Yeah.
So how did you get to Oregon? I mean, catch a bus from Neath?
No, I was in Australia.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
I emigrated I was a £10 POM.
All right, yeah.
In those days,
yeah.
I emigrated to Australia, and they sent me, New South Wales Education Department, who I applied to, said, yes, we'll accept you. And when I got there, I went into the office and said, yes, you're in Wagga Wagga, which is a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wagga Wagga, is there really a place? Yes, it is. It's like 300 miles from here, in the middle of New South Wales, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I had to, again, confront and deal with that issue of a very small town in a country area. But again, I got into sport there. I played cricket for what was called the Riverina, which is the regional area. Played good cricket there. And then I came back to Sydney. I got a job in Sydney because they didn't send single people to Sydney. They had to send them where they were needed, which is out into the country. So I then matched up with an old girlfriend from Tonna, who was in Melbourne. So I hitchhiked down to Melbourne.
I got a cousin in Australia who's from Tonna.
Really?
A girl.
What's her name?
Lynette.
No, it's not her. Not her. No.
That would have been. Hey, that would have been super spooky.
That would have been too much.
That would have been beyond.
No. I hitchhiked because when you're in Wagga Wagga, it's very difficult to make friends and to meet girls.
Yeah.
It's a small country town.
Yeah.
So I was so desperate. I hitchhiked to Melbourne.
Yeah.
To meet up with her, and then I persuaded her that we could both go to Sydney, because they would then accept us as a sort of couple to go to Sydney. So that's how we got to Sydney. Well, after one term working in Wagga Wagga.
So that was obviously a small school, yeah?
No, it wasn't a small school.
All right.
No, it was like
so they came in from the bush?
800, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Rough kids, though.
Yeah. With a lot of Aborigines?
No, not really.
No?
No, they were just country kids.
Just farming kids. Yeah.
So not necessarily academically minded kids. They were going to work on the land.
Yeah.
So, but they were sporty.
Yeah.
But I worked in inner London, and if you think that's tough, which it was, 2,000 boys.
Yes.
It was tougher in Wagga Wagga. It was tough. These kids were, free. It was very difficult.
Yeah,
to control them.
Yeah.
To get them on a line, it was difficult. But it was a great experience because it was so different.
I mean, were the subject mainly academic then, obviously, yeah? Were they? Or, I mean, sort of, you're taking kids off farms and you put them in academic subjects. That's going to be a massive problem.
Well, they needed different outlets to them, obviously. But I mean, their outlet, Wagga Wagga actually was rugby league.
Oh, yeah.
Rugby league was the sport. I ended up coaching rugby league because that was the number one sport. As it probably always has been in Australia, because it was professional, as compared to the lily whites of rugby union, the soft boys. Yeah, it was rugby league was a big. I used to go on a Saturday and go and watch, the rugby league because it was great. The stadiums would be full, the atmosphere would be great, and the play was great. I grew up in Wagga Wagga on cricket and rugby league. Yeah, and then managed to move to where I wanted to be, which is Sydney. Because I was, as you say, I was teaching in London. So to move from London to Wagga Wagga was a very big cultural shock. To move to Sydney wasn't so much of a big cultural shock. And I was out in the sort of pleasant green suburbs of Sydney, which was nice. But I could drive to the beaches and all that sort of stuff.
It's a lovely place, isn't it?
It's a beautiful city.
Yeah,
beautiful city.
Yeah.
So I taught there for a year and a half there in Sydney. And then, in order to, as I said, where do I go next to improve where I want to be? And where I want to be was really motivated by one man, and it was a guy called Don Anthony, who was the head of PE at Averill College. He was a former Olympic hammer thrower, and he worked internationally. So quite often when we had PE lessons from him, he'd be coming back, I'm just coming back from Saudi Arabia, or I've just been to America. why, what are you doing there? Well, he was heavily involved, I think, in United Nations international sport.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, you mean in sport I don't just have to be a teacher, I can do other things in sport? And it opened my eyes to other opportunities that there were within sport, which were growing. We always knew you could work in management, administration, but you know there were new opportunities in sport that were just opening up in those days, and he was probably the main driver for me saying, you know, I want to work in international sport. I was always an internationalist. I've always viewed from an international, you'd think, you know, well, you're from Neath, what's all that about? I always loved the international side of life. I travelled a lot. I went, we had sister cities in France and in Germany with Neath, and I travelled to those cities, lived with people. I had that experience. And then I travelled, you know, in '69, just before I finished college, I went to America for 2 months and worked for a month in Atlantic City, and then I travelled on a Greyhound throughout the whole of America and part of Canada. And again, all those things open your eyes to opportunities, to dealing with different people, to the whole experience of travelling, which I loved. And I've always, to this day, I love it. I love travelling.
So was the University of Oregon an opportunity, or did you visualise that?
Well, it was an opportunity for me to get a master's degree. I had to do a bachelor's degree because, you know, the teacher college in London did not give you a degree in those days.
All right, yeah.
They gave you a teacher's certificate because you didn't have degrees from colleges in those days, colleges of education. So I had to do so many courses to get a bachelor's degree, which I did. And then I had to carry on and do the courses required to do a master's. So I was there 2 years. I was going to go on and do a PhD, but then I got the job in Canada. So, you know, that was a great experience as well. Oregon. Have you ever heard of Oregon?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Have you ever heard of
they've done tours, haven't they? They've done, I've sold their brochures, University of Oregon tours. Yeah.
Well, it's famous. It's called Track Capital USA.
All right.
It's the biggest track city town in America, almost globally.
When you say track?
Track as in athletics.
Oh yeah.
They've recently staged the World Athletic Championship.
Right.
Which has then been staged in places like London and Dubai and Berlin and Paris, and it was staged in Eugene, a little town in Oregon. Yeah. That's how big athletics is.
Yeah.
And when I was there, they had a runner in college called Steve Prefontaine.
I know Steve Prefontaine. He was like a bit of a barrel chest, didn't he? Did he have a bit of a barrel chest? He was in the 70s. He was in the 70s, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, he was. He was blonde.
Yeah.
Good-looking young guy. And
didn't he have a bronze? Was it a bronze in the Olympics?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got killed.
Oh no.
He got killed when I was there.
Yeah.
He had a sports car, and he was coming back from a party in Eugene.
Yeah.
And I think he hit the curb, and the car rolled on top of him. I mean, it's an ironic way for a guy who was made your living by long distance running with a huge pair of lungs to suddenly die because he couldn't breathe. Yeah. And the car was on top of him.
Oh wow.
I was there at that time. It was a tragic death, and they still have the Steve Prefontaine Classic in Eugene.
Oh yeah.
So they still have a trail.
Yeah.
Running trail. So he's still a huge name in America.
Yeah.
And probably a huge name in distance running.
Mm.
So I was there. I loved the athletics, but I also loved the basketball and the American football.
Yeah.
Which they both were very good at.
I love American football. It's a really complex game, isn't it?
But this was a college.
Yeah.
And they had a stadium that would seat 80,000.
Never. Yeah.
And they'd fill it.
Yeah.
This was a small town.
So I knew an interesting fact once upon a time was that I think in 1920. In 1920.
Yes.
Yeah. So in 1920, I think that was the year. They had 20 deaths in college football with them playing American football.
Right.
So it's that dangerous a sport. I think they introduced the headgear and stuff like that. But don't quote me on that.
Well, they introduced laws on concussion as well.
Yeah. Recently that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's a dangerous
well,
game.
it is a
Hate
dangerous.
you know.
And rugby's a dangerous game.
It is getting more so, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think the laws are good. They've sort of stopped all the neck and the
Yeah.
head-on-head, which I think I support all of that
Yes, yeah, yeah.
very much. I mean, one of the things about the IRB, which the chief executive is quite unique, I sat on every committee.
All right, on the laws as well then. Yeah, yeah,
Laws, tours,
yeah,
medical, development.
yeah,
Every committee I attended, and of course they were all over the world.
yes,
They weren't just
yeah,
in Dublin. Some were in Dublin,
yeah,
but I sat on the medical committee. One of the members of the medical committee was a guy called Preston Wiley, who was my, things go around in circles about people. He was my captain of the Canadian team.
Oh,
When
no.
I was with the Canadian Rugby Union.
Yeah,
And he became a medical doctor, and he then worked in Calgary
yes,
in university, and he was way ahead in terms of the medical side of rugby.
yeah,
On concussion particularly. We spent a lot of time debating concussion at the medical committee. So I had, it was a very interesting background to be a part of the whole game. You weren't just sitting there, I'm an administrator.
yeah.
And
Your knowledge of the actual game itself then would be second to none then.
well, you certainly grow to have a knowledge of the game because you are, first of all, discussing it with very intelligent people who've been very successful in their own unions, whether it's New Zealand or whether it's France or whatever.
Yeah,
And it was a bit like hockey. I was very lucky with a sport like hockey because it's very similar in many ways to the makeup of rugby.
yeah,
In that there are a lot of professional people that give up their time for hockey.
Yeah.
Who've got expertise to offer, whether it's in marketing or finance or international tours or whatever it might be. We had a lot of expertise in hockey to draw on. My president in hockey, who I loved, was a guy called Phil Appleyard, who's dead now, but he was my president pretty much my whole term. And he was an international fisheries consultant.
all right.
He was originally he was originally from Grimsby.
Yeah.
And they'd set up. He brought fish fingers to the country. He used to tell me.
Oh, seriously? Did he make that up?
No,
Did he did,
the company that produced fish fingers
Yeah.
was his father or whatever from Grimsby.
Oh, brilliant.
So then he became a consultant going around the world
We'd have to be,
on
wouldn't he?
fishing.
Yeah.
So he was very, very, very astute guy.
Yeah.
A very brainy guy.
Yeah.
It was great to work with. I worked very well with him
Yeah.
as a president. He let me get on and do the job, which is very, very important for a chief executive, not to have constant undermining or interference. I've met that.
Yeah. Did you have like rogue nations? Do we, I mean, technically, as far as the IRB is concerned, England have always been a rogue nation.
Yeah, well, England were a rogue nation when I was there.
Yeah.
We had them up on fining them for when Cardiff was starting playing in their league.
Oh, yeah,
if
yeah.
you remember that.
Yeah, so Cardiff and Swansea, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were told they can't do that. They can't have cross-border like that,
Yes.
without authority, without permission. And
Yeah.
we fined them for the way that they dealt with that.
Yeah.
They dealt with that very badly. And New Zealand was a bit of a rogue nation when it comes to, if you remember, the World Cup that was supposed to be in New Zealand and Australia. And I remember talking to talking to the president and the chief executive saying, we want to keep the stadium names, which are all sponsored.
Yeah.
And we want to, give exposure to these people. I said, you can't do that. You've signed a contract that you essentially are giving the stadium up to Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
And I was a director. I was on the Rugby World Cup board.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's against the rules that you've signed to.
Yeah.
We have to have the stadium because we've got sponsors. Rugby World Cup has sponsored. It may be conflicting with your sponsor or with your stadium sponsor, so you have to get rid of that. And over that issue, they lost the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
And of course, it was Pew that dealt with that, and it gave him a very bad reputation because they hated him in New Zealand, including all the top politicians were against him because he was just following the laws of the rules
of course. Yeah.
of the tournament, and eventually we gave it to Australia. So New Zealand lost it.
Yes. Yeah.
And not only did they lose it, but the board was pretty much kicked out. The board that was involved in that
All right. Okay.
was removed.
Yeah.
And they almost started again. So it was a big crisis really for New Zealand in terms of, we are New Zealand, and I'm sure New Zealand All Blacks and things like that, they are above everybody else, right? They are.
Yeah.
They are superior rugby players. They're a superior administration. It's who are you to tell us what we do type of thing. Yeah. So I was glad that the IRB stayed with the right decision, but it did cause a lot of issues.
And that obviously that decision then would have been the councils, yeah.
Of course, yeah. Absolutely, not pews, no.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing is decided by a chief executive or by a chairman. It all has to go before the council, because it's a big decision to take away a Rugby World Cup.
Of course, yeah.
And Australia really benefited. I mean, that was the one, of course, that England won.
Yeah.
In Australia, so it was a big decision. You get issues like that, particularly from the older nations. I mean, one of the issues that I always had as chief executive was trying to develop the game.
Yeah.
We need to develop, like football has done. When you get 20 nations playing in a Rugby World Cup, or 24, it has to be competitive. It doesn't help anybody to have a sort of 80-90-0 game. That is not good. We have to try and develop the sport in all those countries. We have to help them with their coaching. We have to help them with the way that they are running their sides, the technology they're using. And that's a big part of the IRB's role, is to encourage development of the game worldwide.
Yeah.
Big part of the chief executive's job. One of the reasons that I travelled a lot was to get messages around the world, which I did, in terms of what we wanted from the World Cup, and the World Cup is where all the money comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's changed a little bit, because even Women's World Cup now will make a lot of money, and the Sevens will make a lot of money. But initially, all of the funding, which was then distributed around the world to all of the rugby members of the board, came from Rugby World Cup. It's still a huge amount of money.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a very wealthy sport, very big sport.
So I think I read somewhere that the 99 World Cup, which you were the tournament director of that?
Yeah, well, no, I was general manager.
You're general manager, yeah. So Paul Sorben was the...
yes, Paul was.
Paul was the tournament director, wasn't he? Yeah. So there's a bit of a Neath bias there, running the World Cup. Is that the fourth? I think I read it was the fourth highest, or the fourth richest tournament.
Yes, very successful. Financially, very successful.
Yeah.
The biggest money makers in world rugby is England and France. That's where all the money comes from.
Yeah.
Because they have a huge following, they have big sponsors that can get involved, both of those countries. And so, if you want to make money from a Rugby World Cup, you don't stage it in New Zealand. You don't stage it in Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, the next one is in America, isn't it? They will not make a lot of money, because they won't sell a stadium out for all of the matches. You don't
think so? Yeah.
No.
Because
if you look at the football that's going on now in America, the World Club Championship, half-empty stadiums. Yeah. Because they will cherry pick the matches they want to watch. Yeah. They won't want to watch every game amongst a side from Africa against a small side from Europe or whatever. And it's the same with Rugby World Cup. Yeah. When we staged Rugby World Cup, I mean, in '99, it was not just in Wales. They staged matches in England, and they staged matches obviously in France as well, and I think in Dublin too. So they staged matches all over. Because they didn't have the facilities. Wales still they'll struggle to stage a World Cup because they don't have that many stadiums. Yeah. They have one.
One really, isn't it? Yeah.
One. Yeah. Whereas if you look at France and you think the new stadiums they built in France now, fabulous stadiums. And the USA will struggle because they will stage it all over America, and some of those areas will be rugby fans, and some of those areas won't be. They're trying to develop the sport. America is loving it because it's giving them an opportunity to showcase rugby, to Americans. Yes, yeah. And I can tell you, even from my time at the IRB, the key market to break into for world rugby was America. And it still is. It's the market that everybody in sport wants to break into. Yeah. Because it's huge potential income generator. Yes. If you can break into it.
Yeah, yeah. Because they've got the stadiums.
They've got the stadiums all over the country,
Mm.
they have. But they whether they've got the rugby supporters,
Yeah.
that'd be the question.
I think it's growing, I think.
It is growing,
Yeah.
but is it premature to stage a World Cup? We'll see. I mean, they staged
Yeah.
it. It was a brave decision, I thought, from the IRB to stage it. Or World Rugby.
So Ireland have played New Zealand in Chicago, haven't they?
Yeah, well, that'll fill the stadium.
And
There's a lot of Irish
Of course,
supporters.
yeah. And they play them again next year, I think.
Are they?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of interest in that game.
Yeah.
A lot of interest in that game.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be different. I think they're playing games in Canada as well in this
All right.
World Cup.
Yeah.
In Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver has been very successful. And when I was in Canadian Rugby, we staged most of our internationals in Vancouver because it's a big rugby playing area, British Columbia, Alberta, more so than the East.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting whether the Sevens has done very well in Vancouver. They hold it in a big indoor arena, and it does well.
Yeah.
So people like that.
So talking about the Sevens, you mentioned that you were instrumental in starting the World Seven Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you suggest that is that your greatest legacy with as far as your role in the IRB is concerned?
Yeah, it's certainly a legacy because it's been very, very successful, and there was doubters about whether it would be successful. And I think on the back of that success, obviously, we got rugby into the Olympics. I was always a proponent, and the board wasn't necessarily a proponent of sevens in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But there was no way that 15s could have fitted in to an Olympic timescale. Just couldn't have done it.
Yes.
Too much.
Yeah.
So it was obviously they should have been pushing sevens from the start, and they did eventually. But I was part of the Olympic pathway to get rugby in.
Yeah.
When I was there.
Yeah.
And the sevens we took, we took some of the major tournaments around the world, and then we built it into this World Seven Series, which has boomed. I mean, it didn't boom initially because we had some venues which we thought would be good for sevens. They weren't good financially. We had one in Fiji, for example.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think we had one in Uruguay.
Yeah.
Which was a lovely venue. But
Punta del Este.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, how much can they charge to go to a rugby game in Fiji? I've been to many rugby games in Sula, but probably £1 or something. But you're not going to make a lot of money when you've got to pay for all the teams to come into Fiji.
Yes.
Which is what they have to do.
Yeah.
It's heavily weighted, the sevens, towards the IRB and not towards the hosts, because the hosts have to pick up all the costs.
Yeah.
Their money comes from gate receipts. Doesn't come from sponsorship. That's also owned by World Rugby.
Yes.
It comes from bums on seats. How many tickets you can sell? How many people you can put into the ground?
Yeah.
Now, if you're a venue that's going to attract 50,000-60,000 people over 2 or 3 days or whatever, then you're going to make a lot of money. But if you're charging £1 entry, then you're not going to make any money. And Fiji couldn't afford to do it after that first time.
Yeah.
So it eventually sort of worked itself out. We ended up with venues that were nice venues, but also were able to sell out. We're able to get big crowds.
Yeah.
I mean, even it's developed because, as I said, the first sevens in South Africa was held in a very small ground, the university ground in Stellenbosch. It probably seats 2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
Because it was a trial, and now they stage it in the stadium with 50,000.
Yeah.
It's grown, it's taken off, and of course Springbok rugby is on a high, isn't it? The spring, the Blitzbroks as they call them.
They keep winning World Cups.
Yeah, they're amazing. The program in South Africa is frightening.
Yeah.
For the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And as a Welshman, I think these countries are just going further and further ahead. It's all right to say we're in a rough period, we'll get over it.
Yeah.
The fact is, as we're trying to get over it, there's countries that are like England, like France, that have got good, strong leagues, developing great young players, and it's going to be very, very hard for a smaller nation to compete.
Yeah.
And Wales is a smaller nation.
Yes. Yeah.
We used to have the depth because we used to have such great talent, and we used to have a lot of players playing club rugby all over the country. They're not anymore.
No.
I don't think clubs are running, the number of sides that they used to.
Yeah.
So they've lost players, and they will eventually lose money because people won't go to see the best sides. They need to be more successful. So they need to put a plan in place, which I'm hoping then you...
Are you going to come back as chief executive officer of the West Rugby Union?
I think I've done my stint.
Yeah.
I certainly think they need to look at where they're going.
Yeah.
I mean, the news I hear doesn't encourage me. I mean, they've hired someone from business. I just explained what happened in IRB when they hired.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
They've hired a very successful businesswoman to run Welsh Rugby, chief executive of Welsh Rugby, and I think they've hired. I think he's a businessman too, as the chairman, if I remember right.
All right. Yeah.
So they're not rugby people.
No. You have to understand the game, I think, don't you?
Well, I think you have to be both. You have to be very business-minded. I mean, I'm business-minded. I'm very professional in what I do, and I'm very business-like. I'm a business-like person. As you said that you were in running your business, you have to be very business-like.
Yes.
And the bottom line in a professional sport is making money. It's the same in cricket or football or whatever. How do you pay the players if you're not making money?
Yeah.
How do you pay your players if you're getting 5,000 people for a game instead of 30, 40,000? Those are issues about how you can regenerate the game to bring more youngsters into playing the game, which is schools rugby, which is a bit of a shambles, isn't it? School rugby. I mean, it's all done by clubs now, whereas it used to be done in Wales in the schools. And we had a very, very successful schools program. Yeah. And now we don't.
Neath Grammar, two English cricket captains as well. Yeah. So, and how many you lose count. How many rugby internationals Neath Grammar produced, wouldn't you?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic record. Brian Thomas was there when I was there, and Jeff Piles, and lots of great players.
Yeah.
But also, the cricket. I don't want to name drop, but I mean, I know Tony Lewis. You talk about producing an English captain. Tony Lewis's dad was my dad's best friend.
Oh, right, okay.
Throughout his life. My Uncle Wilf.
Yeah.
And my Uncle Wilf would spend hours and hours with Tony, more. And I think that is the secret too, which I think a lot of people don't understand, the amount of time it takes to become an elite sportsman, whether it's a tennis player or a swimmer or whatever, the amount of time you need to put into it.
Yes.
I also went to school with John Bevan, not John Bevan the wing, but John Bevan the outside half.
John D. Yeah.
John Bevan was in my cricket team. In the cricket
he was a good cricketer too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He played for Glamorgan, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was also, I also played in the rugby team with him. And John Bevan, whose dad was a bus driver. Yeah. Whenever John was playing, his dad would be on the sideline. But the only one. There weren't tons of dads. Yeah. He watched him every game and moulded him. Yeah. I mean, I remember John Bevan, he could hardly see the posts. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he didn't have good eyesight, did he? Terrible eyesight. He was almost semi-blind. Yeah. Wore glasses all the time. So I presume eventually he was able to get contacts. But again, the amount of time he would take kicking goals, practicing, and then his dad, as the encouragement his dad gave him, a bit like Tony Lewis with my Uncle Wilf, the amount of time I would be, occasionally we would go out together up into Swansea, because he was in Swansea then. He started in Neath, but then he moved to Swansea. Just throwing the ball at him, and me too, because I was playing with him. Well, he's older than me. But I think the amount of time it takes to develop players, they have to really work hard to get to an elite level. It doesn't just happen overnight. No. It happens with tons of hours of time of practicing, kicking. And we did that at Neath Grammar School. Every kid would be out there every lunchtime playing touch rugby, kicking the goals. I did it every lunchtime. I did it after school every day. Yeah. When I've been to, through my hockey, I was able to discover the Far East through hockey. I mean, the strong sides in hockey, Pakistan and India. I've been to India a number of times, and I've been to Pakistan. Every bit of dirt that you see in India, there's a bunch of kids playing cricket. Yeah. Hundreds of kids playing cricket. In this country, we used to see that. You'd go to any park on a Saturday, and there'd be kids playing rugby. There isn't anymore.
I've got a good Indian hockey story.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So my mate who I meet on the canal, my mate Sean. Shout for Sean.
Sean.
Sean Goodsir Cullen. So Sean's father played in the British India team that won a gold medal in the 1936 Olympics. Yeah. And Hitler stormed out of the stadium because they were beating Germany in the final, I think. Yeah.
India, again, it's a matter, a bit of what I said about being flexible and adjusting to different circumstances and different times and different atmosphere. India used to dominate the world of cricket and hockey. But it was, hockey was played on grass in those days.
Yeah.
And they dominated. And then they went, during my period actually, to artificial turf. You didn't have the money. Couldn't develop on it. So they went right down.
All right, okay. So there'd be better ball control on artificial turf? I mean, is that the reason why?
Totally different game.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally different. Faster game, obviously.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't bounce, the ball is fast.
Yeah.
A lot of the skills have changed. You can lift the ball, you can throw the ball up in the air.
Yeah.
And the Indians, they lost it after that. I don't think they've come back now. I think they are stronger now, but it's taken them decades because they didn't have the money to develop artificial turf pitches.
Was it India that Britain beat in the final in '88 in Seoul?
No.
No. Who was it?
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching.
Germany. They were fantastic in that final. If you're talking about what are the highlights, you're talking about what are my highlights in World Rugby. What are my highlights?
So let me stop there. Sorry?
Winning a gold medal.
Yeah. So let me ask you now, if you had one legacy or moment to take away from your sort of career as a sports supremo, as one magazine described you, take away one moment or one legacy, what would it be? Would it be that moment?
Well, I think in terms of legacy, when I gave up being involved heavily in sport administration and sports marketing, because I had my own sports marketing company, I decided to put something back, because I had so much from sport, that I would go into lecturing, sports management. And I had never lectured. How do you get into lecturing? And I managed to get a job in Lincoln, in the University of Lincoln. And my father was from Lincoln, he was from Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that'd be brilliant. I could go and discover Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
And I commuted from Tinton in Monmouthshire to Lincoln, which is
a long way. That's it is a long way.
To get on the ladder.
Yeah.
I was a half-time lecturer. That's how I got back into lecturing. I lectured for 1 year in Lincoln, and then I got a job lecturing in London at London Met. So that's what I'm saying. You have to find ways and means of getting where you want to be. Yeah. I want to be a lecturer. How am I going to be a lecturer? I've never lectured. How are you going to do it? It's very interesting how you are going to do it. At London Met, I was interviewed for the job. I had to do a presentation on a sport management presentation, and the people, there who made a decision, I knew. One guy called Ted Fay, who was an American, went to Oregon at the same time as me.
Oh yeah.
That helped me.
Yeah.
He was in Eugene, studying for a master's, but not in my subject, but he was there, so he knew Eugene. The other guy, Tony Cortland, was at Milton Keynes, and knew I worked with him in terms of getting a stadium for Milton Keynes, a hockey stadium, because he was on the recreation department. He was now a very senior administrator at London Met, and Ted Fay was part of a program, an American program, study program with London Met. So I got the job, and that's how the world, that's how it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Who you meet.
Yes, yeah. A good impression, obviously.
Well, and I think my legacy, I lectured for 7 years in London, moved rented a flat at great cost. We still had the house in Tinton. Rented a flat at great cost in Islington, central London. Taught in Moorgate. And I introduced an internship program. And first of all, I had immense credibility with these students. They weren't just British, because we had a program with American students as well.
Yeah.
So, we had 30 or 40 students, some American and a lot British, but also Europeans too. But when you come from a background that says, I'm not just a lecturer, guys. I'm not just an academic. I didn't get this from textbooks.
Yeah.
I've been there and done it.
Yeah.
I've run governing bodies. I've administered, I've managed. I've been there and done it. So I had huge credibility, and people that were hanging on every word, and that was great. And I then introduced an internship program that they could either do a dissertation or an internship. And we managed, again with my contacts, to get fantastic internships for these students in great organizations, great clubs, and that helped their careers immensely. They were actually out there working in sport. And not like doing McDonald's or whatever as an internship. They were actually working with football clubs, they were working in governing bodies, they were working for sponsorship agencies, they were involved in sport. And I keep in touch with a lot of these students. A lot of them are doing very well and have very successful jobs, good
Excellent.
jobs.
Brilliant.
And a lot of people leave university, can't get a job.
Yeah.
What's the most important thing is experience, isn't it? Work experience. I did, when I was at Oregon, I had to do an internship for my degree. And a lot of the students I was with were doing, I'm going to do it for my local leisure centre, that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of them were doing that. Stay locally, stay at home and work in the leisure centre or work in a spa. I did mine in San Francisco Recreation and Park Department. I lived in Haight-Ashbury. I walked to work in Golden Gate Park. And I was exposed to all of recreation, including the stadium, including the zoo, including big leisure activities with the city of San Francisco. Fantastic experience. I'm a bit like that. I want to get the maximum experience. I'm not going to work for my local leisure centre. I can do that anytime. I want to work for a big city. Even if it costs me having to pay rent in Haight-Ashbury. I want the experience, I want the contacts, and that was always important to me. And I think that my legacy is that internship program. A lot of students have great careers now because of that internship program, which I started, I managed, I got a lot of those vacancies for them. And it's brilliant. And I had students from India and from America and all over Europe on that program. That was, I felt good about that. I also used to travel every year to Cortland. It was part of the University of New York in Cortland, to develop the program further and to meet all the people at the university in America that we were getting students from. So that was a great experience. So I look at that as a legacy. I wanted a legacy which is to give something back.
Yeah.
It cost me a lot of money, but I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm now able to follow those students.
Excellent.
Who I helped,
Yeah.
nudged up onto the ladder, because it's a tough ladder.
Yeah.
Sports management, and I've been there. I've done it. I started right at the bottom as a PE teacher, then I worked my way up, and I was lucky. I had lucky breaks, but I had to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And just getting into lecturing, like commuting to Lincoln, to driving to Lincoln, staying in a travel lodge 3 nights a week, to get the experience and to get a job. And then to be able to come back to London and live in central London, which I'd never done, to live in Islington, get the bus to my university was brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved that experience.
Brilliant. Stephen, thank you.
You're welcome. Very good. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Good luck to your business.
Thank you.